Hello everyone and welcome back to Homescreen. As always, I'm your host, Alex Yeager, and I feel an incessant need to scream into the void. So, in a vain attempt to keep today's existential crisis at bay for at least, 4 minutes, let's hop into some upcoming releases. We start off our release schedule this week with The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, releasing April 27th. This reimagining of the original Stanley Parable has you playing as Stanley, who finds that all his co-workers have mysteriously vanished. He can also hear an odd voice narrating exactly what he needs to do and to find his co-workers, but that's neither here nor there. You get to decide how to go about this. Will you go along with the narrator's story, or will you carve your own path? The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features everything from the original, as well as tons of new choices and endings. As for the endings, though, all I can say is that the broom closet ending was by far my favorite. See if you can find out the secrets of The Office when The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe releases April 27th across all major consoles. After that, we have a port of a gorgeous PC roguelike, Rogue Lords, releasing on April 28th. In this stylish roguelike, you play as the devil himself. Storm the world of the living with your fleet of disciples, collecting ancient artifacts along the way to restore your powers. You can control up to 3 disciples at a time, each with a unique ability set that synergizes with your own in a different way. It's time to wreak havoc, sow terror, and take your conquest to the surface. Just how far will you get? Find out when Rogue Lords releases April 28th for PlayStation, Xbox, and Switch. Up next, we have a new version of an old classic, Nintendo Switch Sports, releasing April 29th. That's right, it's time to get your dreams absolutely destroyed by Matt once again. Except for the fact that boxing isn't in this one. But at least we still have bowling. Also returning is the beloved form of tennis, where, let's be honest, all you ever did was flail your arms wildly. And new to this version is soccer, volleyball, badminton, and chambara, which is some weird sword fighting thing. You can either customize a sports mate for the game, or you can import whatever unholy abomination you call a me. It's time to grab your Joy-Cons and get moving when Nintendo Switch Sports releases April 29th for, go figure, the Nintendo Switch. And finally, releasing May 5th, we have Trek to Yomi. In this cinematic action-adventure, you follow the story of Hiroki, who made a vow to his dying master to protect his town and the people he loves against all threats. Now, this lone samurai must voyage beyond life and death, confront his inner demons, and decide his path forward. With breathtaking cinematic angles and a score reminiscent of feudal Japan, this game not only looks, but sounds beautiful. Will you be able to keep your vows and protect those you hold dear? Find out when Trek to Yomi releases May 5th for PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. Alrighty then, that's enough of the releases for now, so let's get to the real topic of today's episode. Alright, I need to level with you. I was trying to think about what I should talk about for this episode, and as I was looking through games, I saw something that disturbed me. Did you know the original Portal was released 15 years ago now? Back in 2007. I mean, Christ, I remember playing that for the first time as a kid like it was yesterday, but 15 years. This feeling like your childhood ran away is weird. But to better help explain that feeling of dread, please help me welcome my guests for this episode, Joel Conte, Annie Sakura, and John Franklin.
Oh gosh.
As you're almost falling off the chair. Wow. What are you... just... I put on the brake and this is already a train wreck. Hoo boy, we love this. So, hey, you're here. This is a show. We're talking about nostalgia and garbage.
I like nostalgia.
I like garbage.
Yeah. There we go. That's a bit more accurate.
Sorry, Annie. I had to do it.
Oh, yeah. So.
I'm sorry I'm the shortest one at the table.
That's a you problem.
Yeah, you better apologize.
All right. So,
John.
old-timey things. I'm talking tech decks. I'm talking Heelys. I'm talking all of that. So what are some of the things you guys remember so vividly from like early mid-2000s? Just from that general period. Just what are you thinking?
Man. From that general period, I mean, I just kind of think back to my childhood and the things that I experienced. During my childhood, I was huge into Nerf guns. And this was like this was like the period in time where Nerf guns didn't like actually work very well. So like every single one of them you had was just like equally as crummy as the next one. So it was really just kind of running around and like shooting little pieces of plastic foam at people that was not going to hurt at all or do anything. I mean, nowadays Nerf is kind of like weird, but I was a big fan back then.
Understandable. Well, and also like darts were so unbearably cheap because I had a couple Nerf guns. We would lose the darts all the time because we would just be like running around in the woods shooting each other. Which, let's be honest, some of the crap we pulled, we should be dead.
Oh yeah, 100%. I used to run around in my grandparents had like a 10 or so acre just wooded area that they have up north. And I used to go up there and I would explore and I would walk around with a BB gun. I shot at a lot of things.
Oh.
That was not smart to give to a 10-year-old child.
Well, so I was gonna say, before Nerf guns were a thing, my parents gave us these like little red guns, but they shot little foam discs. And at the time, our basement was unfinished, and so there's 4 kids running around with these things, and we kept losing all the foam rings. We only had like 5 left. And so after that happened, when my parents decided to finish the basement, they kept finding them like in the infrastructure of the house because they couldn't, because we just lost all of them over the years.
That actually reminds me, and this is something I didn't think about until just now. So we were cleaning out our basement the other week, and as we were going through, like, we lifted up some old chest that was just filled with a bunch of, you know, like, old photo albums, everything like that. And there was just a pile of Orbeez sitting under it.
Orbeez.
Yeah, Orbeez.
Were they like filled up Orbeez? Were they like...
Not anymore.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine.
Okay.
It's probably been, what, 10, 12 years since my sister and I touched them? But also, it's one of those things, you just kind of, as you're cleaning, it's like you start cleaning your room and then it's all of a sudden, oh my god, my 6th grade science notebook? Yeah, I'll stop everything I'm doing to read this.
Mine was the
Absolutely.
Africa project that we had to do in 7th grade.
I just had Egypt project.
We had Egypt project for ours.
Oh.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about. I was in a Lutheran grade school with like maybe 20 other people.
Wow.
And
Well,
I don't know, that's probably similar to a lot of other people, but I never had anything like that.
Well, I know one thing you probably did have. Rainbow parachute.
What?
Oh,
Rainbow
yeah,
parachute.
we had the
Rainbow parachute.
Oh!
Everybody
You knew it was
had.
going to be a good day in gym class when this was out.
And they
Sitting
wouldn't let
under
you
with your
do it.
homies.
They
so
wouldn't.
much fun.
They also like wouldn't let you do it past like grade 2 in our school. So like after kindergarten, 1st grade, 2nd grade, no more rainbow parachute.
I think they ended around like grade 4 or 5 because at that point it started getting too violent.
Oh, wait.
That's true.
Wait, what? Whoa.
So, what did you guys ever
Whoa.
do with this parachute? Like, what games did you play with it?
Well, I know a lot of times the teacher would just kind of throw a bunch of foam balls on top of it and be like, all right, go nuts. I feel like...
That's just such... That was the teaching method back then.
And I feel like part of that was just like a strategy for the teachers to like, all right, we gotta get these kids to be less energetic somehow. Let's just do this.
No, there were 2 days you knew the teachers didn't care about what they were teaching about, and it's when they brought this out or when they wheeled out the car with the VHS.
Oh,
Yo.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
The other game that I used to play with this all the time was the teacher would put a ball in the center, and then all the kids would lift it up, and you had to run in, grab the ball, and get out without getting touched by the parachute. So it was like you got locked in.
One that was kind of akin to that we played at my school, and I don't know if you ever did, Sharks and Minnows.
Yeah.
I
would-
loved Sharks and
all
Minnows,
the kids
dude.
would sit around with their legs in the center, and then you just had the one kid going feral in the center, grabbing people.
Oh, you played a different Sharks
Okay,
and
that's
Minnows
different
than I
than
did.
from us. We had one kid in the middle that we put it up, and then as it was going down, the kid would push the other people out of the middle.
Oh, when I played a completely different game then. Sharks and Minnows for me was basically I don't know. It was something that I did in my swimming classes. There was a shark, and then every time the shark tagged somebody that was a minnow who was trying to get from one side of the pool to the other, they didn't make it or they got tagged, then that meant they became a shark. And it was just kind of a game of brutal survival.
We didn't have a pool at my elementary middle
Same.
school.
We didn't have a pool, and that's part of the reason why we did it like this. So, like, as you're, POV, you're under the rainbow parachute. It's awkwardly yellow for some reason, even though there are all the other colors there too. But all of a sudden, you see little Johnny, he stole your juice box last week, and you see his ankles.
No.
And you grab his tiny little ankles and start yanking. And all of a sudden, Sarah and Timmy have to run around from the other end to try and keep him from getting pulled under, but you're not letting him. No, you're going. And Johnny, he's gonna come with you into the shark pit.
Okay.
All right. Let's just preface real quick here. This is child Alex. This is not adult Alex. Adult
I haven't
Alex
slept
is
in
not
2
trying.
days.
Adult Alex is not trying to pull children underneath a parachute.
No,
As much as it may sound like it.
Nowadays you take a nap under the parachute because it's like the perfect blue light filter. It's wonderful.
Wait, so are you saying that you have a parachute currently in your dorm room that you take naps under?
No, but I might buy one because they're probably not that expensive.
Well, speaking of games that cause like hysteria within schools, well, it was not necessarily a game. It was an object. Silly bands.
Oh yeah, the silly bands.
You would like
silly
exchange
bands.
these. Oh.
Every school had a silly band black market, and you cannot convince me otherwise.
I was the leader of that black market. I
Same.
was totally the guy that's like, you see this gecko? One of only 3 ever made.
Oh, exactly.
I would get
Kids
like
would
7 silly
always
bands
buy
for
that stuff.
Oh yeah, it was really easy. Now my issue with silly bands is I asked my parents for them relentlessly, right? Like I always was just like, Mom, Dad, give me some silly bands, And then they did, but it was like knockoff ones that obviously weren't the same quality as like the actual silly
They would
bands.
snap immediately.
Yeah.
They
And
would
those are
snap
the ones you
immediately.
pawn off to the ones that aren't smart enough to notice.
Exactly.
Well, that's the problem because I was the one that wasn't smart enough to notice.
Wait, where
How
did
do you think I felt, man?
Where did you buy them? Because I remember buying mine at a store called Justice, which was actually a clothing store.
How about mine at
Oh,
Walgreens?
I forgot about Justice. I'll be entirely honest, I don't think I ever bought a single silly band. They were all ones I either took or won in betting games.
That's pretty
Did they play
iconic.
silly band
That's
poker?
that's actually
expected
It
nothing
iconic.
wasn't
less from
poker,
you.
but all of a sudden it was, whoever is the team leader in Red Rover gets a silly band from everyone, and I was part of the reason Red Rover got banned at my school.
How many arms did you break?
3.
Oh my god.
You lead with the shoulder and you go closer to the elbow, and if they don't let go, that's their fault.
You always go for the people that think they're the strongest because those are the easiest ones to snap because they're just kind of tilting their arms like this. So you come in like that.
Oh no, the biggest mistake was if you held your arm backwards because then it's a guaranteed
I never
break.
played this violently at my school.
This was back when I was at my Jesus school.
Wait, so 3 of us here went to some sort of private school.
Yeah,
Am I
we
the
went to a
only one
private
that went
Lutheran
to
school.
public school the
And
entire
I went to
time?
private
I
Catholic.
would have rather gone to a public school the entire time. I probably would have been much more well adjusted.
No, well,
Mom, come pick me up. I'm scared.
No.
mommy, I threw up.
I screwed up. That's another. Why do kids just randomly vomit half the time? It's all
I remember that as a kid. There was
It's just a
times-
thing.
It was just normal that there was one kid in my class. His name was Zach Barnes. He would literally just stand up in the middle of class, walk over to the to the trash can, and just like spit in it.
Yeah, you just
And,
like throw up, come sit back down, and it's just like you don't
Life
pay
goes
mind to it.
on.
It just happens.
Oh my gosh. The worst I ever got was like a nosebleed in class.
I broke my arm in 2nd grade.
Sorry about that.
I fell off of a piece of playground equipment that the year later got lowered.
Okay.
When I was in kindergarten, I peed my pants.
Hey, same.
You did that yesterday too. Your point.
You promised you wouldn't tell anyone,
I'm sorry,
Alex. Come
it
on,
happened.
man.
But, Going back to playground equipment. Best piece of playground equipment.
You know those little carousels that you just got spinning really quickly with people on it?
Mm-hmm.
Those are the best. Because I need to have one kid try to jump on and mistime it, and then get hit, and then go like spinning out.
We had a yellow tube that connected equipment, and you could easily get on top of it and just sit there. But of course, that was banned from the school because, you know, if you fall and get hurt.
It's only banned
But
if you
that
get
was-
caught.
But that was my favorite thing to go do. I would sit there all the time.
My personal favorite was always the trolley, like the little thing that you hang on to and then you just like go for a ride. But
I love those.
But that being said, I do not like the ones that are like safe, like the ones that are just a rigid handle on wheels that's like up high. Those ones are too easy. No, what you really need is the one that is like just a giant triangle with a chain connected to like some weird ball bearings on top. It was real dangerous, and it never worked at my grade school, so I would go, like, halfway through, not be able to finish it, and then, like, desperately hang on for dear life for about 15 seconds before my weak little arms wouldn't work anymore. And as soon as that happened, I would fall and hurt myself, and that was always my favorite part.
This isn't my favorite thing, but we had something akin to that. So we didn't have one of the trolleys at my school, but, like, we had monkey bars, and then we had those weird wheels that hung above, and they would spin all the time, and we would try to launch between them. That caused so many injuries.
We used to climb.
Not as many injuries as the swing set, which I think I've told a few of you about before. So at my school, we had a massive swing set. It was always hot competition for who got to it. And of course, in the winter, you have a lot of really big snowbanks. And you would try to get as high as you can on the swing set, and you could go vertical, and if you got to that point, the chains would start going down before you did, and it would buckle. But then on your way back up, you'd try to launch and land in the snowbank, but if you launched at the wrong time, you wound up in the tree that was right above the snowbank. And we had multiple kids getting stuck and injured in that tree.
Did you
And
ever
they
get
still
stuck and
didn't cut it
injured?
down. I got stuck, never injured.
See, we would not try to, we didn't have a swing set at our school, but going back to those like twirling disc things, you could actually swing your legs up onto it and again like climb on top. But they were fine with that for like a year or two, but someone must have gotten hurt or like fallen because that soon got banned too. But if you got second recess in another class, I mean, none of the like recess ladies were there. It was just your teacher who didn't care. And you'd get away with it.
Okay, so I just kind of have a question for everybody, but what was the favorite playground game? Because for me, when I was a kid, it was always Sandman.
Sandman was definitely up. Once Red Rover got banned at my school,
yeah, I suppose.
it transitioned into Sandman. Because what we would also do, we had one of those. We had like two slides on the playground. We had one that was partially covered and then open, and then one that was fully open. And I was one of the little twits who was agile enough to climb around the outside of the equipment and get on top of the slide.
Okay, yeah.
And that's where I would always sit. And then once people started figuring out, it was like I was just within arm's reach. So at that point, I would then jump from the top of the side to the sand, and then immediately get back onto this weird like climbing pole we had as a way to get into like, the actual playground.
Yeah.
And Sandman hit different.
Oh,
Kids
it
were
was so
built
much fun.
different.
Kids
we should have
were
been
built
injured
different.
so much more often than we can.
I have a story directly related to that.
I think this is why I have back problems now.
Oh yeah, maybe. But back when I was a kid, when I was playing Sandman, I had a bully in grade school, right? Not like the worst of bullies, but he was the guy that was always giving me like problems, always kind of being just like, you know, he was the one that would body slam me because I was standing on second base when I wasn't supposed to be, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Either way, this guy was huge. He probably had like 150 pounds on me, and this was in like 5th or 6th grade. Anyway, we were playing Sandman, and he was hiding on top of the trolley, which, like I said, at this time they had it renovated, so it was one of the ones that was just kind of fluid, safe, sturdy, you know, whatever. He was hiding on top of it, and at the time, I was a short little loser, so like I couldn't actually reach to the top of it. You know what? Get rid of the short and little, and then, yeah, you can make a case. But anyway, I was reaching around because I heard him, like, laughing up there. So I found the handle for the trolley, and then I tried pulling myself up so I could reach him. And what ended up happening,
Oh, no.
he tried too hard to avoid me and landed flat on his back.
Oh.
He landed flat on his back. And on
Wait,
one
are you
hand,
starting to cry?
because I think it's funny. Tell me this isn't hilarious.
That's kind of funny.
But anyway, this is like my childhood bully, and I just, like, I felt the ground shake as he landed on the ground.
Oh.
Tell me that's not at least a little bit funny.
That is a bit
That's
hilarious.
hilarious.
You know, one other thing that was a staple on playgrounds was the sandbox. But speaking of
We
sand,
just had a wood chip box.
yeah, we had the sandbox. But the sandbox at school had nothing on moon sand.
Oh, yeah.
Moon
sand.
sand.
That was the most fun toy ever.
My
And
parents,
there's literally no point to it except
no.
for being just a moist sand.
my parents bought it for me and immediately regretted it because it got everywhere.
No. You know what gets everywhere? I literally got a kit for like a birthday. And you got these like plastic bottles that were like fun shapes. And you just poured sand in them to make art. And I had this plastic
Oh, I think I
little
know what you're
like
talking about.
table in my room at the time. And it was just covered with it. And then my floor all around it was just covered in just normal sand. Not even moon sand. Normal sand that just gets everywhere.
We'll say. You want to know the one other mistake kids made with moon sand constantly? They mixed the colors. Those are never coming apart again.
Never cross the stream.
Oh, you thought you had a blue and a green? No, you have like bleen now.
Gotta love Bleen.
I think the word
old
is
Bleen.
teal.
No.
I thought it was turquoise.
No, because it didn't actually make a teal. It was blue and then green, and then you had a little green over here, some more blue here.
So it was
It didn't
Tie-dye.
mix. Kinda, yeah.
Yeah, I never had moon sand.
I loved my moon sand. The
I
one
never
was
had-
moon shoes.
what?
That was one. So many kids I knew had moon shoes. I did not have moon shoes, and I was so jealous of the kids with moon shoes.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I've seen moon shoes. I've used moon shoes. This was back
Moon shoes.
long time in my youth, of course. But anyway,
Moon
I
shoes.
saw these things at a friend of mine's house once, and he was like, "Yeah, man, it's like a trampoline," and I was like, "Okay, cool. I want to try it." I literally, like, my first jump, I tripped, landed flat on my face, and then said, "Okay, somebody else can play now," and I have not looked back since. I have very fond memories
You know
of
what?
Falling flat on my face, though. That was
You
a
know
great
what
time.
shoes that I always really wanted?
The
But
Skechers light up sneakers.
no, I wanted Heelys.
Oh,
I had a pair of Heelys.
Yeah.
Never got good enough to like use them fluently. The most I could ever do was like roll down my driveway because it was already at an angle.
I
They just
remember
look
seeing
so
people
fun.
travel from one side of my school all the way down to the other on Heelys. And then I got banned like 3 days later.
Heelys never got banned for us.
How? Because we always had kids going through and then running into like a 6th grader running into some tiny kindergartner.
See, they got banned at our school because like we had a rule about what colored shoes you could wear, and there were some other things. So because of that, like I think they were able to just ban Heelys.
You know, that surprisingly explains so much.
My shoes?
The fact that you had shoe colors banned,
Yeah, you
that
could only wear
explains so much.
you could only wear white, black, or brown shoes.
Ugh.
We had uniforms, like full-on uniforms.
And this is why public schools.
I didn't have a uniform. Did you have a uniform?
I did not have a uniform. I was
Yeah.
normal.
I went to Catholic school. That explains it.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, I think we are running out of time for this episode.
I cry.
I do. I wish, as much as I hate 2006, I wouldn't mind going back to like how simple 2006 was.
I don't
Yeah, you
remember
guys ever think
2006.
about that? Like, what would happen if everybody just went back and like lived their childhood again, like, do you think it would be as enjoyable as it is to look back on? Because, like, I look back on these things and I just think, wow, this was, like, the best thing ever. But now I'm wondering, like, if I actually went back and saw all these things again, would I actually just kind of be like, you know, this is really stupid?
I can answer that. No, it's not fun. Because as much as there are the things you love, there are the things you loathe. Like when I was listening to my, radio on YouTube Music the other day, and Fireflies by Owl City came on out of nowhere. I heard it for 2 seconds. I was like, oh, this song brings back so many memories. Oh God, this song brings back so many memories. This song brings back so many memories. It got played every 2 minutes on the radio, and it was infuriating.
One year at my school's talent show, I kid you not, every single person that was participating in it sang that song without fail. There's maybe one person that sang Roar by Katy Perry, but otherwise it was just that.
I think I would go back. I think, Alex, you said this earlier, like, kids were just built differently. Like, as someone who, like, acknowledges the fact that, like, I enjoy rules now as an adult, like, surprisingly enough, there was just...
Yeah, you do.
There was...
Ask for forgiveness, not permission.
There was just something about, like, falling flat on your back and being completely winded.
You can
and
fall
being
down
like,
a flight of stairs,
and be
pop
like,
up 2 seconds later and be like,
I'm fine.
I'm good.
And, like, it wasn't all this stress about, like, oh, are you hurt? Do I need to go get you an x-ray? It was just like, you're fine.
Rub some dirt in it.
Yeah.
And I miss just the amount of fun on my schedule, because nowadays my schedule is all school, keep myself alive, TV 10, more school, sleep. But back then it was like, go to school where you see your friends, and then after that you got a little after school club, whatever you feel like doing that day. And then I had hockey, and then I hung out with my friends afterwards, and I didn't have life.
Yeah, well, I have one more closing remark, and this is something I've been on a bandwagon for a year. Change.org petition. Take naps away from kindergartners and preschoolers. Give them to college kids and high school kids. We need it more, and we would actually appreciate it. But that is a story for another day, and unfortunately we are out of time. So from all of us here at Homescreen, good night and good games.